It is a post-apocalyptic world with robots, social stratification, and an infestation of little monsters that can chew through anything. And you are a very, very good kitty. It's the photorealistic cat adventure game we've all been waiting for. But Stray is not just that, because the developers actually wanted to tell a story and build a world around our cat protagonist. While our feline fellow may be the biggest draw for this game, the work done on making the gameplay and story good when you're doing typical cat things and during the more traditional gameplay parts is much appreciated. Stray is an adventure game developed by Blue 12 Studio and published by Annapurna Interactive. The founders of Blue 12 started on the game after departing from Ubisoft in 2015, and given the small team, the game took a while to develop before its reveal in 2020. The game originally was slated for the end of 2021, then was pushed to early 2022, and finally received an official release on July 19th, 2022 for PC, PS4, and PS5. Reviews for the game were very positive, although not overwhelmingly so, and audiences responded well to the game too, with an overwhelmingly positive rating on Steam from over 60,000 reviews as of the writing of this. May have changed since then. Given the amount of reviews, it seems evident that the game sold well, and the confirmation that it smashed the previous record for most concurrent players on Steam for an Annapurna-published game only confirms that assumption. I expect at some point this year to hear the announcement that Stray topped over 1 million sales between all the platforms, and may even reach higher than that. With that background set, let me introduce you to the premise of Stray. You play as a cute orange cat living in the abandoned infrastructure of the previous human civilization slowly being taken over by nature along with your cat pals. As you travel around though, you fall down into the underground sewers of the city and must navigate your way back outside. This underground area, and many of the subsequent layers, are inhabited by robots and their homes. Humanity has died out, but the robots remain in the dark, eking out a living, while some dream of being able to make it to the outside. One of the robots you meet is one you uploaded to their new small drone body named B12. B12 helps you communicate and find out what is going on in the society of the robots and how you can make your way through the city and closer to the outside. There are numerous obstacles in your path, including unamused robot shopkeepers, crumbling infrastructure, dystopian robot police states, and the bane of all existence, the Zerks. This kitty, though, is up to the task. As I said before, the developers actually wanted to tell a story, and they managed to tell a surprisingly good one for both having a protagonist who, while not silent, is unable to communicate in a language we understand, and a short narrative. My playthrough was 6 hours long. The environment serves a very important role in telling the story, as you will find human artifacts that hint at what befell the human race, the development of robot culture, and other fun details. Then you come to the robots themselves, some of whom have their own arcs, goals, lives, and excellent names. And sure, for some of them, you're just there to disrupt their mahjong game or rub against their legs, but others you help them fulfill lifelong goals. These are all important to building connection to the world without ever overshadowing the main goal of getting back outside. In fact, that goal is shared by some of the robots, which helps keep the narrative focused and the player invested. That brings us to the gameplay. Most of the time in the gameplay, you'll be wandering around the city doing all sorts of things. The platforming is pretty basic. A prompt will appear for you to jump, and when you hit it, you jump. You can't actually fall off anything unless the story dictates that you do. Movement and controls are smooth once you've adjusted to a rather different perspective than most of us are used to in other games. The key is knowing where to go and what to do once you get there to advance the main story. Of course, you will likely get distracted along the way like a good proper kitty with various things. This includes, but is not limited to, objects close to the edge of a table or roof that can be pushed off, rugs, doors, or couch arms to scratch, pillows to snooze on, robots to disrupt either in nice or not so nice ways, the song of your people to sing, etc. None, or most of these have nothing to do with the main story, but it is a part of the game to give you the real cat experience. I say take advantage. Now, back to the main story. With B12's help, you can collect various objects around to use with the robots. There are some places and things only you with your small size and nimble grace can reach, so you'll end up doing all the work while the robots go and do computer stuff you can't do. Sometimes in order to get the items or move on to the next area, you will need to solve an environmental puzzle. These were pretty fun and struck a good balance, not obvious on how to solve, but also not frustratingly hard to complete. This main part of the gameplay was very well suited. Although although this might be a good game to take notes for before you take a break because there are no obvious hints about what you're supposed to be doing if you've been away from the game for a little while. One thing to collect throughout the game along with solving puzzles are memories. B12 in the uploading process lost their memories, and as you explore around, you'll see opportunities to regain some of the memories from certain locales or objects. This is helpful both for developing B12, but also for additional world building as B12 remembers what life was like and who they used to be. It is not required to collect them all, and unfortunately clues as to their exact locations are sparse in-game, but it is a nice additional thing to look out for while exploring around. That side of the gameplay is the peaceful side of things, but sometimes you have to venture into more dangerous areas infested by the Zurks. The Zurks are monsters that breed in the dark and were designed for recycling purposes, and then it was discovered they could and would eat through anything organic. That unfortunately includes cats, so in these sections you need to weave your way through, around, and away from them. Sometimes they do manage to jump on you and you'll have to shake them off before continuing onwards. I now decree that Zurks will be my default term for any annoying enemy from now on. These are some intense game sequences, but they also don't tend to be too long. You just may need to restart a couple times. There are also a few sections that necessitate stealth instead of speed. This is reminiscent of stealth sections in any game. Memorize patterns, take your time, and you'll be golden. The escape and stealth sections add a little more variety to the gameplay, but I do know some people who didn't like these sections. I was fine with them overall, but in any case, they don't overtake the rest of the gameplay, and there are adjustments you can make if need be. That brings me to the presentation, and the developers did an exemplary job with the presentation of the game in every aspect, especially considering the size of the team. The art is gorgeous, detailed, and one of the most realistic games I've played for a while, although that does say something about the games I usually play. Our feline main character obviously has tons of details in animations and design. The robots similarly have unique designs to help tell them apart and give character to them and the societies they have formed. The biggest thing to me though is the environmental design. In a game like Stray with limited dialogue, the details of the world become all the more important to telling the story and leading you where to go. That was done so well while also blending into the environment. Sure, you can eventually pick out the purposeful design, but by that point you're too invested to care. The soundtrack suits the world and enhances the atmosphere through tense or serene moments equally. The sound design is great with lots of little sounds bringing life to the world, and of course the dedicated meow button. By the way, if you think the cat's meows are fake, something I have seen from some people online, I suspect you haven't heard a cat meow recently. You should rectify that. The game doesn't have a lot of UI elements, but the ones it does have are fine, and the game is still very easy to experience without that. Stray shows the love, care, and time put into it in every part of its presentation, and it's great to know this game got the chance to be fully developed instead of being rushed out. Stray is a complete experience. A strong core set of gameplay with some variety thrown in occasionally, a cohesive and detailed world, and of course, a very cute protagonist. If Stray looks interesting to you, it is worth it to give the game a try, and it is of course a must-play for cat lovers, although not exclusive to them. If you have played or plan to play Stray, let me know down in the comments, along with giving this video a like to shake off the zerk sent by the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to keep up with the channel, and thank you for watching. It's time now for me to give pets to the cutest kitty around, my cat. Have a great day, and happy gaming.